Hi everybody, this is my Mk2 Fiat Punto, Fiat Punto 188 it'll be known as, in production from September 1999 until 2005. There would have been two facelifts within that time frame as well, and then it would have went on to the Grande Punto then in 2006. This is the 1.2 petrol. You can get them in 1.2, 1.4 and I think 1.8 petrol. 1.3 and then 1.9 diesel. This is 5-door model. They only come in hatchback form. You can get a 3-door, 5-door hatchback, or you can get a 3-door caravan. Manual windows, manual door locks, manual wing mirrors, everything manual. There's no central locking. The Mark II did keep the high-end tail lights. That took over from the Mark I, which I have right beside me. There we go. So you can see them in frame together. They look quite nice. 59 brake horsepower, top speed of 96 miles an hour. A few little quirks about the car. We have small little details. So for example, I like the way the indicator is more towards the middle of the car compared to most indicators being on the outside. We have the nice circly Fiat badge. I think this was one of the first models now, the Punto, to have the circly badge compared to the the previous stripes going down. It is plastic bumpers. You can get color coded bumpers on higher spec models that they'd again come with electric windows, power locking, and you'd get a sunroof on the likes of the sporting model. I'll show you around the inside of the car now and let you know what it's like. So when I turn the ignition on, I have a series of lights. They're not actually flashing, believe it or not, on the dashboard. They're just flashing here on my phone for some reason. I have with the Fiats, I leave the lights on all the time. Once the engine goes off, the lights turn off, so I just leave them on the whole time. So again, just to remind you, there's actually nothing flashing on the dashboard. It's just the whatever way my phone is picking it up. So we have then speedometer. Being 2003, it would be predominantly in miles an hour. On Irish roads here, we turned over to kilometres in 2005. So there is, in the smaller orange figures, that's kilometres. Underneath then we have our digital clock, which will have a headlight adjusting display, digital clock, and then you'll have your mileage, which is quite low now for a car that's 20 years old. 40,356 miles. I treated her to a full tank of petrol, so don't worry, it's not very common. I said I'd do it because it's Christmas time. And that's literally all the instruments I have on the dash. There will be warning lights that will pop up. Nothing has come up in my time now, but you might get the likes of oil warning light, battery lights, that that sort of thing. Controls now, very basic on the car. So I have parking lights. When I put the parking lights, the same symbol will come on. So you'll just have to do 2 clicks to have your dip beams on. Flash the dip beams then, bring it towards me and have them on constantly. Flick it away from me. We have indicators. And then hazard warnings. And one thing, I'm going to kind of compare the Mark I to the Mark II Punto as well. So wipers, for example, in the Mark I, when you'd put the windscreen wash on, then you'd have to put the wipers on. So they wouldn't interlink with each other. So if I just put my windscreen wash on the Mark I Punto and didn't activate the wipers, nothing would happen. It would just be water on the windscreen. But with the Mark II, the wipers will generate. So it's the little things in life. We'll have different speeds. So we'll have intermittent, regular wipe, and then we'll have the fast wipe. I have then rear wiper, which I shall show you back here. That might be better. So regular wipe, I've only one wipe option, so just on constant. Or if I were to put the windscreen wash on, then there we go. But once the motor stops with the water, the wipe stops, so you might need to do a wee bit of a wipe after. I love the horns on the Punto, very Italian. I'm just gonna pop the window down here so you can hear it. So that's nice. I have adjustable steering column in the Mark II. It'll only go up and down, so there's no reach going in or out. Over to our left, we have then adjusting the headlights. So you'll see here now it'll go 1, 2, 3, or minus. There we go, 1, 2, and 3. And I can hear the motor there going in the headlights. It's only really myself ever being in the car or one passenger, so I'll always leave it at 0. Over here then I have a trip computer, and I can turn, I think that's to turn the dimness down on the clock. I can't really see though in the daylight, unfortunately. Mark 1 and Mark II are similar. You have to turn the radios on manually and turn them off manually. They're not connected with the ignition. What's different in the Mark II, I have a city button here. So if I hit that, city will appear up here on the dash. It makes the steering lighter if you're in, if you're parallel parking, city driving, and believe me, it does actually make it a lot lighter. I have demister then for the rear window, which again will tell me on the dash that that's turned on. I have the hazard warning lights, and then I have rear fog light. So I presume this is where the front fog light would be, but on this is pretty much base spec model, so I've only a rear fog light, and again that'll come up on the dashboard there as well. I have then fan controls underneath, so cold going on over to hot. I have fan speed. I have direction of fan, and then I have circulation. I have then an ashtray and cigarette lighters here. I just have my charger plugged in. Underneath we have fixed cup holders. You can't move them. They look a wee bit on the small side, so you're definitely going to get, I say you'd get a can in there. It's not going to be feasible having a regular bottle of water or a fizzy drink in there, because they're not deep, so it is going to fall over with any sort of turn that you take. Manual gearbox, so we've 5 gears. The Sporting would have come with, I think they come with 6 gears. So I'm going to pop foot on the clutch, go in and out of the gears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then reverse. I'm going to lift this up, so there's a little notch here. The Punto, it's actually pushed down in the Mark 1, but the Mark 2 you're going to lift the notch up back into reverse gear then. Little cubby then in between the gear stick and the handbrake. Handbrake is manual, so I'm going to pop it down, pull it up with the button pressed, and then pull it up with no button pressed. So nice click off that. Behind it then we have rear ashtray for the backseat passengers. Both chairs will recline up and down via this finder. We have then lumbar support here for the driver's seat. Both passenger and driver seat will of course move up and down manually, but driver seat I have height adjustment as well. So that was in the Mark 1 as well, but it only would have been in the likes of the SX models or ELX. My Punto S model, for example, does not have this option. It did have it though when I had an SX model. So this being the base spec Mark II Punto, it's nice having this also for the driver. door cards, very plain. So we've manual windows all around. There's no little cubby here. The Mark 1 had a cubby here. I've small door cards, manual windows, and it'll be the exact same then on the passenger side, along with the speakers there as well. There is a nice amount of cubbies around, so the Mark 1 dashboard wouldn't have had here. It just would have been one kind of open dashboard, so things would have been sliding all over the place. So you do have little cubbies here, which is nice, and a decent sized glove box as well. Little cubbies in here. There we go, and that's about it. Storage wise then for the front. To get into the boot, I have boot release, or I can use the key. So I'll do boot release now. Turn the engine off, and I'll show you then opening it with the key in a sec. I'll just show you the back. So I'm 5'10". I have the seat back almost as far as I can go. I think there's one notch left. So I'm going to sit into the back and show you how much space I either have or I don't have. You can see it gets even more basic here in the back. Literally all you have is your door handle winder for the windows and your manual lock. There's no door card holders or anything. 3 seat belts in the back. Apologies now about the dog hair. No headrests in the base model. We'll have 3-point seat belts for 2 of the seats in the back, and then you'll have your lap belt in the middle. Just out of curiosity, I just want to see how far the rear windows go down. It won't go down all the way, I'd imagine. Yeah, that's as far as they'll go. So, very small difference. This seat is back as far as it can go. You can see there's very, very little leg room. So I'm going to hop in anyway and see what she's like. Okay, so don't get me wrong, it is tight back here. A lot of feet room underneath. My knees and shins are up against the back of the seat, but it's comfortable, soft material. And I'm not digging in to the driver as well. However, though, I don't think it'd be very comfortable long distance. Again, 3 seat belts, but you're not going to comfortably fit 3 adults back here. I'm just going to show you now headspace. So do have a nice, so here we go. Yeah, so decent amount of headspace. Go back. I'm just about grazing the back here. Like I said, again, no headrests, so not overly comfortable. I'm from the back view then, so I've no door handles. Sorry, handles on the roof. I've only that for the front seat passenger. So again, very basic back here. But you got to think back in the 2000s. I suppose it was a nice car starting off with, or a second car, or I'm sure they were considered a small family car as well. I'll show you into the boot now and show you what space I have there. So it's nice view from the back of the car here. I released the boot from near the driver's seat, so this should be open now. So it's a full rear seat, fold down situation, so there's no 60-40 split. This is just cardboard the previous owner had left here, I presume just to protect the boot liner. I haven't removed it. Why not? There's a couple of actually quirks in the car that I never remove when they're in it. I'd probably consider it bad luck. Up here then we have little notches where you can grab to pull the boot down. There we go. And I'll just open it with the key then, just to show you what it's like. Nice and simple. We have then filler cap for the petrol on the driver's side. So there's a little notch here you can open up. and then it's key operated to get into that. What I'll do is I'll show you around the engine bay. To get into it, like most cars, either underneath the driver, or in some it'll be under the passenger. There's a little release down here. There we go. I'll show you what the 1.2 engine looks like. So everything is accessible. We have coolant here. We have oil filler location, dipstick to check your oil level, alternator, power steering fluid, your air filter will be in here, and spark plugs then will be underneath that. We have battery, and then your washer fluid as well. The Mark 1 Punto, the front wiper linkages and motors were prone to going, and there was a big plastic fascia over the Mark 1s. This one obviously is bang out in the open, so a lot easier to change if that ever goes. I'll start the car up now and show you what it's like when it's running. So it's a very smooth car. It's 20 years old, and I think the last owner had it, got for about 17 years. And like I said again, very, very low mileage on it. Smart looking car for 20 years old, I'll be honest. So guys, that's the Mark 2 Punto. It's a lovely car to drive. Again, I love picking up cheap, affordable cars that probably people tend to throw a blind eye to. Something a wee bit on the different side, or something that would have been very iconic back in the day, helped a lot of people out, you know, getting on the road in the first place, second car in a family, or getting people moving on a budget. So I do like to remember them type of cars just to keep the memory alive. I'll try to do a few more videos now on cars that come my way over the next couple of weeks. But if you have any ideas, or if you're in the Loud area and would like me to have a wee video on your car, let us know anyway in the comments. Thanks guys, bye bye now.